Hey everybody, Joel Penton here, founder and CEO of LifeWise Academy. Welcome back to the Vision Cast, where we talk a bit about our big picture and hear some LifeWise stories. We are continuing with our series on the origin stories of our core values. We are in the core value of being competent, and today we're going to look at two of these kind of sub-points about competence, and that's being innovative and being problem solving. So innovation has always been a strength for our team. It has been such a strength, it's almost a weakness, which reminds me of course, the Jumanji line, how can strength be a weakness? Not sure if you're familiar with that movie, but it is almost a weakness in the sense that we so frequently want to try new things. We so frequently want to look for a better way. Honestly, sometimes it would be wise for us to just say, hey, what's the trusted, tried and true way? But it really is a great strength for us. And from the very beginning of the ministry, as we think of the origin stories, when Stand for Truth was launched, when my friend Ryan and I started this traveling speaking ministry, everything we did, it seemed we wanted to have a new spin on the way school assemblies were done. We wanted to have a new spin on the way events with students were done. And even as we thought about technology, we worked for a while with a major national nonprofit, and they gave us access to this really nice database, this system for free. However, it wasn't exactly the way we wanted it, and we wanted to innovate and create some automations. We wanted to create some forecasting. We wanted to create some custom reporting, and so we actually created this entirely separate database in a spreadsheet with these elaborate formulas and whatnot to be able to innovate. So this has been kind of at our core from the very beginning, and that really flows into this other subpoint, which is problem solving, that when we encounter a problem, we want to figure it out. We are a figure it out organization. We've always been a figure it out organization. You have to be when you're innovating and you're trying new things. And so we love to teach ourselves. We love to use Google. We love to use YouTube. When we started to hire new people, it was really interesting. We would hear people every now and then say something like, oh, well, I don't know how to do that. I haven't received training on that. And we would say, well, yeah, everything we do around here is new. No one's been trained on any of this. And so use Google, use YouTube. And what we really adopted from the earliest beginning is that we wanted to reject a victim mentality. When we encounter a problem, we don't want to say, oh no, I'm helpless. I'm a victim in the face of this problem. No, here's an opportunity to figure something out. Here's an opportunity to solve this problem. There's a book that we spend some time in around here, a book called Business Made Simple. It's written by Donald Miller, and he's done Christian writing. He does organizational writing like this. It's very helpful to businesses and nonprofits, but he talks about this kind of idea of a victim mentality versus a hero mentality. And he says this: I ask that you choose not to see yourself as a victim. It will end your personal development. It's true that some people have to overcome more than others, but the more you overcome, the greater your heroic story. If you have a challenge and are tempted to see yourself as a victim, remember this: those who journey the farthest will arrive with the most strength. Keep fighting. Don't quit. That's the mentality that we want to have as we are trusting in our King, who is the ultimate hero, who overcame and solved the infinite problems of Satan, sin, and death. As we encounter our little problems, we don't want to be the victim of these problems. We want to say, hey, here's an opportunity to learn. Here's an opportunity to grow. Here's an opportunity to figure things out. Hopefully that's helpful to you. Let me quickly read how we define these things. Innovative: we will continually look for new and better ways to achieve our vision. We will do whatever it takes to turn our ideas into reality, even if our solutions seem unconventional. And then problem solving: we will figure it out. We will strive to never be a victim of our circumstances. We will always find a way. That's our big picture section. Now we get to hear a story on the phone. We have Cathy, our director in Napoleon. Cathy, are you there?
I am.
Cathy, thanks so much for joining us on the Vision Cast. Thanks for what you're doing as the director up in Napoleon. I have fond memories of Napoleon. In fact, when I was first done with college and I started traveling and speaking, one of the first places I went was Napoleon, and I spoke for the United Way there. I spoke at the high school, became friends with some people in the area. So anyway, I have a fondness for Napoleon, and so I'm grateful for you and serving the students of Napoleon. Cathy, tell us a little bit of your LifeWise story. How did you get connected to the ministry?
So prior to coming to LifeWise, I was an in-home child care provider for about 12 years. And once our youngest was going to be heading to kindergarten, I decided to find something outside of our home to do. So the entire year before, I just started praying about what that was going to be. And I approached our lead pastor, who happened to be the current LifeWise director here in Napoleon, and just told him that if anything, opened up at our church, that I would be interested in joining the staff there. So fast forward a little bit, and he asked me to come in and meet with him about something regarding LifeWise. And so I assumed there was maybe a teaching position opening up. And so when I walked into his office, sitting there on the table was the LifeWise program director job description. And to be completely honest, I immediately was just disappointed and anxious. I didn't feel equipped for something like that, and was not what I was thinking was going to be offered to me when I walked in. And so we sat and talked, and I was somewhat starting to open up and to what that could look like, but still had a lot of doubts. And he had to step out of the office to make some copies. And as I looked over at his whiteboard, there on the board were the words, "Do the hard things." And so I was just kind of like, okay, I hear you, God. And so we ended the conversation with me just saying that I would get back with him, and spent the night and the next day just kind of praying and talking to some different people, and made the decision to just take that step out in faith and go for it. And here I am. So
Wow. Well, we're so glad you did. And boy, how appropriate that you would have that story right after I talk about problem solving and figuring it out and not being the victim. And I think your story is pretty common. I think that I can relate to that story. I think that nearly all our directors can relate to that story. I think everybody that works with LifeWise, as we look at this project and we say, "Wait, we're going to do what? We're going to do?
yeah.
This is bigger than us. This is." But the Lord provides, and the Lord gives strength. And as we seek to figure it out and solve problems, He shows up and does the real heavy lifting amidst our feeble efforts. And so grateful for you stepping out in faith. I know that you sent in a particular story of impact. Could you share that?
Yeah. So our first week of LifeWise, we were picking up our fifth grade classes, and one of the students expressed that she didn't want to come, that her dad was supposed to have sent an email saying that she wasn't going to be enrolled in LifeWise anymore. And so I just explained to her that, we hadn't gotten an email, and that just the way that we did things was that, parents are expecting their kids to be there if they have them signed up. And so until we received that email, we were going to go ahead and just bring her over with us. And so she said, okay, and she came. And one of my volunteers, who was brand new this year and also was kind of like, I don't know that I'm equipped to do this, but I'll give it a try, sat with her and was with her during the class. And on the bus ride back, I sat on the bus across from them and was just able to witness firsthand just a very sweet, intentional conversation where the volunteer and student shared about the class. They talked about how this volunteer would be assigned to the same class each week and would be a familiar face for her. And then our volunteer just asked, do you think you're going to come back next week? And our student just smiled real big and said, yeah, I'll give it another try. And the very next day, same fifth grade, not the same class, but we went and got another fifth grade class and had kind of the same situation again. And this year we have two new teachers in our classroom. And when this little girl walked in and saw that the teacher that she now had was her volunteer that she connected with from last year, big smile, her demeanor changed. And we're now heading into our sixth week, and both of our students are still a part of the class and are loving coming and just enjoying being here.
That is so awesome. As you're sharing and I get to hear about these relationships that are forming, they remind me of a quote I heard that programs don't change people, people change people, or maybe it's impact people.
Yes.
And that is so true. And that's what I hear. And that's what we see day to day, right? The program itself, the red bus and the logistics and the t-shirts, that's just the
Right.
that's just the trellis for the organic vine of real impactful relationships to grow. And and yes, we have the curriculum and it's very solid, and yes, but it is those moments and a lot of the volunteers in those relationships form that the Lord is using. So that is really exciting to hear.
Yeah.
What's it like to have a front row seat in Napoleon, to see on a weekly basis so many kids rolling through your program and being impacted by the Word of God? What's that like?
Oh, it's amazing. I work right on site when our program is open, so so many smiling faces, so many connections that I get to watch. I ride the bus the first couple of weeks just to get everybody, in place and train our new volunteers. And it's probably been one of my favorite parts, honestly, just to sit back and be able to watch just the organic conversations and relationships that grow, especially in volunteers who, like I said, just don't even feel like this is something that they could ever do, and then to see how easily it actually comes for them. It's been really cool.
Well, it is so cool, and on so many levels, to see the people of God mobilize and to see the impact. And I know I'm really encouraged by you and your story. And so once again, thank you for serving, for rolling up your sleeves, and thanks for being on the Vision Cast.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, Cathy, and thanks everybody for joining us, and look forward to seeing you next week.